Good morning, students. This video is for class 6 science, and today also we will continue with chemistry. Today our topic of discussion will be compound. Compound. So what is a compound? A compound is a pure substance that is formed by mixing two or more elements in a fixed ratio. For example, water is a compound. Why? Because it is a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. Now two atoms of hydrogen is mixed with one atom of oxygen to give you one molecule of water. So this is a compound. Then sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. All these are compound because they are a mixture of two or more elements in a fixed ratio. Sorry. A compound is a pure substance formed when two or more elements combine together in fixed ratio. That is what I have already said. It is made up of the same kind of molecule. So, compound is made up of same kinds of molecule. In other words, when two or more elements react chemically, the elements lose their original properties and a compound with new properties is formed. So, hydrogen has their own properties, oxygen has their own properties, but when they react chemically, when they combine chemically to form molecule of water, this water has a different characteristic or properties rather than having the properties of oxygen and hydrogen. That means when a compound is formed and different type of properties compound is formed. For example, carbon dioxide is made up of one atom of carbon and two atoms of oxygen. The properties of carbon dioxide are very different from that of a carbon atom or an oxygen atom. So when carbon dioxide is formed, the properties of carbon and the properties of oxygen, they move away. They lose the properties of these two elements separately and they form new combined properties of carbon dioxide. Carbon is a solid, but carbon dioxide is a gas. Other examples of compound are water, salt, and sugar. This is the common salt that we eat, that we consume. Next, what are the characteristics, what are the features of a compound? Number one, compound are formed when two or more elements combine chemically in a fixed ratio. I have already told you when two elements combine mixes in fixed ratio. That means two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. This is the fixed ratio to form one molecule of water. Next, the properties of compound are different from the properties of the constituent elements. That means when you form a compound called carbon dioxide, the properties of carbon dioxide is totally different from the properties of carbon or the properties of oxygen. That means the properties of compound will never have the properties of the atom of the element that it is made of. Compounds exhibit their own physical and chemical properties. Yes, they exist. They have their own properties, physical as well as chemical properties. They do not take the properties of other elements or other compounds. Compounds can be separated into the individual components by chemical method. Now when you form carbon dioxide, after forming this from carbon dioxide, you can separate carbon and oxygen by only one method, that is chemical process, chemical method. Next is molecule. Our next topic will be molecule. Molecule. When two or more atoms of the same elements or different elements combine, they form a molecule. So when two or more atoms of either the same element or of different elements, like suppose for example atom of hydrogen and atom of oxygen, they combine to form one molecule of water. So when the atom of the same elements or different element combine, they form molecule. The combining atoms are chemically bound or joined together to form molecule. A molecule can be defined as the smallest particle of an element or a compound that exhibits all the properties of that element or compound and can exist independently. That means you can say that suppose if this is a molecule, this is the smallest part of the element. Suppose if you take this as element, this is the smallest part. Molecule is the smallest part of either element, like suppose this is the molecule of either element or compound. And remember, whatever the properties of this element has or the compound has, the molecule also will have the same kind of properties. Depending on whether a molecule is formed from atom of the same element or different element, molecules are of two types: molecule of an atom or molecule of a compound. If the molecule is formed from the by combining the atom of the same kind of element, it is a molecule of element. But if a molecule is formed from two different or three different element, which is also called compound, they are known as molecule of compound. So it depends that it is made up of same kind of atom of an element, or it is made of the atom of different elements combined together. When two or more atoms of the same elements combine, a molecule of an element is formed. In molecules like oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and chlorine, the same kind of atoms or atoms of the same elements are bound together to form a molecule. So they are bound together, they are combined together to form an element. But when two or more atoms of different elements combine in a fixed proportion, a molecule of a compound is formed. That means when a molecule is formed from two different, by combining the atoms of two different elements or more than two different elements, then molecules of compound is found. In molecules like water, calcium oxide, zinc chloride and carbon dioxide, different kinds of atoms or atoms of different elements are bound together to form a molecule. So these are few examples where you see molecules are formed by combining, by joining, by mixing or combining the atoms of different elements. So children, I hope you have understood this. Put a tick mark till here. Today we will keep it till here. In the next class we will begin with mixtures. So for today up to this much. Thank you class.